Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for staying with us all day long. I hope I won't disappoint you guys because there is no air jobs today. I will make my speech short. The title is The Promise of Smart Economy. Smart economy is a vision of NEO. So first I will briefly introduce myself, a little bit history about me and the project, and then I'll talk about the vision, smart economy, and then we will move to what we will do with NEO for the next year or so, and then the Q&A section. Back to 1997, that year I entered college in China. This is also the year that most of the Chinese college students had access to internet. So I instantly fall in love with messing around with computer and also internet. And I try to teach myself how to learn how to do programming languages. The key reason I want to learn computer language is because all the computers in our computer labs are installed with a software hard disk lock. So every modification I do, every file I stored on the computer will be wiped out every time after the reboot. So it's not really convenient. So I decided to teach myself assembly language and try to crack the lock and replace it with a lock that is written by myself. So the public computer in the lab becomes my PC, my private computer. So that's a little bit of history about my computer science background, although I'm not a computer major. And then also around the same year, I discovered a blog. Back to that time, blog is really not that popular. The title of the blog is called New Institutional Era. It's about economics, especially about new institutional economics. It just opened a door for me. I started to learn Austrian School of Economics, started to learn Chicago School of Economics, and become a firm believer of free market. So magically, after more than a decade, 2011, I came across a news talk about something that combined two of my hobbies in college together. That's computer science and economics. That something is called Bitcoin. I fell in love with Bitcoin and did a lot of research during 2011 and 2012. And after 1 year of research, I finally decided to invest in Bitcoin. So I bought my first Bitcoin with an exchange called BTC China. It had already been closed by the Chinese government, by the way. The first Bitcoin cost me about $10 at that time. So it's a very good investment. The only complaint is I haven't bought more. And also I registered a domain. It's called mongox.cn. Do you guys know mongox.com? It used to be the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. I plan to open my own exchange and link the order book, the liquidity with mongox.com. But that idea never materialized. But back to that time, the only business you can do with Bitcoin is running an exchange. So then 2 years after, I came across a new cryptocurrency. It's called repo. I just realized that we can use similar technology to do different things. Repo is focusing on doing international remittance, doing forex. So I just realized we can do a lot of things. And then because the price of all the different cryptocurrencies just went up quite dramatically during that time. So there are community members, different communities popping up in China. So I, together with the other 6 co-founders, we started to build up the Chinese blockchain community in Shanghai, and we even invited Vitalik to China for the first time. Around that time, he hadn't started Ethereum yet. And then around 2013, something just inspired us to do a new public blockchain. There is a post on a forum. The forum is called bitcointalk.org. The post is titled ASIC Miner Entering the Future of ASIC Mining by Inventing It. At that time, Bitcoin mining is mostly done by GPU. But there is some guy from a PhD in China, a PhD candidate in China. He claimed that he can do a ASIC mining machine that will be 10 times or maybe dozens of times more efficient than GPU. So he made the post, and the only problem he faced is he doesn't have the capital to do it. So he's asking the community, the Bitcoin community, to donate or invest in his project. And finally, he raised around 150,000 US dollars. That's 16,000 Bitcoin back to that time. And a few months later, he successfully delivered the first ASIC mining machine to those investors. And he also issued shares for his startup. It's also called ASIC Miner. And the share costs 0.1 Bitcoin where he is doing the fundraising. And after he delivered his ASIC mining machine, it skyrocketed to 5 Bitcoins per share. So that's 50 times. And also combined with the rise of the price of Bitcoin itself. So people, the investors in this project are making 100x only after a few months. So everything goes really successful. But it's not all good news. Around 2015, that guy called the ID is Fried Cat just disappeared because he faced some difficulty with his business. So he just gone. Nobody knows where he is today. It is said he still owns tens of thousands of Bitcoin with his Bitcoin address, but nobody really knows where he is or even he is alive or not. So this story inspired us around 2013 that we're thinking we probably can build a public blockchain for crowdfunding. It's at that time we were thinking about crowdfunding. Actually today, this crowdfunding looks very similar to an ICO. I even think ASIC Miner is probably the first ICO in human history. So it just inspired us to do the first public blockchain in China. And fortunately, I met that guy on the right. His name is Eric Zhang. He is the other co-founder of NEO. And I told him the idea. And he said, at that time, he's working also with a crypto exchange called Huobi. And he said, very calm, he said, oh, yes, I think probably I can do it. And then we teamed up together, and we started a journey building the NEO. So we spent almost a year to design different features for NEO. There are lots of different features or innovations. Like the consensus mechanism, it's very different from the existing ones. It's not proof of work, it's not proof of stake. It is a BFT style consensus called delegated Byzantine fault tolerance. And also we have a very different token economic model. We have 2 tokens. We decouple the stake with utility. So NEO is the stake token, it's a governance token. If you have NEO, you have the voting power to select those consensus nodes. And gas is the utility token. You basically pay everything on chain with gas. And also we have a very different smart contract system comparing to Ethereum's. We utilized matured computer languages. So you don't need to learn new languages like Solidity. You can start it right away writing smart contract with C#, Java, Python, or many other different languages. And also, the governance model is quite different. We lean to have a very strong governance. We reserved 50% of the token, of all the NEO tokens, and we use that token to facilitate the development of NEO, the ecosystem, and everything around it. And in total, we did 2 fundraising or 2 ICOs in the past for NEO. We only raised about 4.5 million US dollars. At that time, it's not bad, but comparing to last year or the year before last year ICO, it's really small money. And then last year, 2018, we had our first developer conference in San Francisco. Most of the attendants are developers. And then a week ago, we did our second developer conference in Seattle. As you can see, the turnout is not bad. So that's the history about NEO, and now more about the vision, the blockchain itself. So during the past years, my understanding of blockchain has evolved or changed a little bit. So I used to think blockchain is just a distributed ledger. It is true in its minimal form. It's a kind of a distributed ledger technology. But more than that, blockchain is also a platform. A platform is something that you can build new things on top of it. But there are many proprietary platforms on the internet, Facebook, Amazon, or in China, Alibaba. But Bitcoin or blockchain is more than just a private platform. It's an open network protocol. If you strictly follow the protocol, your implementation can communicate with other people's implementation. So it's more like a protocol. When we talk about protocol, we are also the thing that pop up in my mind is TCP/IP or HTTP. It's all about internet. The old internet or the internet before blockchain is very good at transfer of information. But blockchain is a different kind of internet. It's very good at transfer of values. So some people also call blockchain an internet of value. So blockchain is a ledger, is a platform, a protocol, and also internet of value. But more recently, I think blockchain is also something else. It's something even bigger. It's a new institutional technology. So it's not just about technology itself. It will be a tool to build new institutions. Institutions are kind of a set of rules or organizations that is invented by people to organize our economic or political life. Government itself is an institution. Legal system is an institution. Limited company is an institution. Even our marriage or different culture is some kind of institution. With blockchain, we will have the ability to invent new form of institutions. I will come back to that later. I just said blockchain is a ledger technology. There are many different ledger technologies in human history. We used to use clay tablets, papyrus to record things, and then we use like double entry bookkeeping or electronic spreadsheets. And today we have distributed ledgers. And our economy also evolved from different stages, from private economy to agricultural economy, industrial economy, and what's next. So let's start from primary economy first. During primitive economy, the system that the political, it's not political, it's the social system is called hunter-gatherer society, and people work in a very small group or family, and the ledger technology is really backward, use clay tablets, and the collaboration is happened at a very small scale. It's between people, it's inside of a family or a tribe, and the ownership, there's no very clear ownership. Everything is egalitarianly owned. And then we moved to agricultural economy, and we have a political system called feudalism. And we use different ledger technologies to do bookkeeping. And the ownership is a little bit mixed. We have some kind of private ownership. We have private properties, but the major means of product, the land, is owned by the lord, landlord, or by the king. And the collaboration is at a larger scale, but it's still small. Usually happened at the township level. It's very difficult to collaborate inside the whole country or the whole nation. And then we moved to the industrial economy. Today we are in the industrial economy, and most of the population in the world are living in a capitalism or market socialism. And we have a newer ledger technology to track everything. And the ownership is mostly private property with some exemptions, some public properties. And the collaboration is happening at a larger scale at national level. But what's next? I believe we are at the age of something new. We are moving to a future economy. I call it smart economy. There are two keywords with smart economy. It's digital, it's decentralized, and it's also a sharing economy. So it's digital because everything will have its digital form. The currency, assets, securities, Internet of Things, your identity, your reputation will have a digital form. So everything will be digital or will be tokenized. Because it's digital, you can use computer language to manage all of these things. So it's a programmable economy. And also because it's programmable, it will be interoperable. Different systems can talk to each other. There won't be any data silos. It's very beautiful to have everything digital. But if every digital form lives in one system, that system will be a single point of failure. That's very dangerous. So if we are heading to a completely digital economy, it has to be decentralized. A decentralized economy will be trust-free. You don't need to trust the middleman or a centralized third party. And you will be very transparent because everything is written on the immutable ledger. And also it's inclusive. Everyone can invest or have its share of the economic infrastructure. And also it's a sharing economy. With blockchain technology, the ownership will have finer granularity. In the past, you either own something or you don't own something. But we are gradually seeing different kind of ownership. Take Uber as an example. You don't need to own a car to move around. And with Airbnb and other share economy business models, we are seeing the ownership can be defined in a much finer granularity. So the consequences, we will have a global market. That market is so big, and we will have a smaller government. A lot of the business that today's government is covering will be handed back to the market itself, and we will see new forms of institutions. Probably any one of you know DAO, DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization. It's very similar to limited company, but it's very different. It's described by those rules defined by smart contract. So here comes NEO. NEO is an open network for smart economy, but NEO alone won't be the smart economy itself. So it will work with other technologies, including AI, IoT, cloud computing, and many others. In the next a year or so, we plan to. This is the plan that NEO try to improve itself. We will move to NEO 3.0. We will do a lot of changes, including architectural changes, including better layering. We will natively support layer 2 solutions. We will improve or optimize our consensus mechanism. And also we provide new functionalities like direct access to internet resources. And also we will have a manifest and permission system like those app stores did for security reasons. And also, there will be other infrastructure modules, including NeoFS, the distributed off-chain storage solutions, NeoID, the self-sovereign identity solutions. And also, we will do some change with the governance model. With NEO, we have a foundation. It's called NEO Foundation, registered in Singapore. NEO Foundation will be focusing on the strategy for the finance part. And we will have two subsidized entities, NGD, New Global Development, to execute those strategies, and NGC, New Global Capital, to do the investment arm, to do investment to make sure we have a sustainable money income. I just talked a lot about NEO's vision, that's smart economy. So, but vision is something quite vague, something pretty far away. That's the direction you are heading. But mission is something different. Mission is something more clear, more defined. So the mission of NEO is to make it the #1 blockchain by 2020. We have 1 or 2 years ahead. let me define number one blockchain. Number one blockchain doesn't refer to a market cap. It's more about to become the most favorable platform to build application on top of it by providing best performance, a diversified ecosystem, and also compliance solutions. So the key word here is a platform. At the end of the day, at this stage, it is really important for developers to developer adoption. It's not blockchain itself is not, in my opinion, not ready for mass adoption. It's not meant to be for ordinary consumers at this stage. So what we are doing is looking for developers to build the foundation for future mass adoption. So we decided to establish a new entity in US. The reason we do it is there is nobody understand the platform strategy better than Microsoft. So fortunately, I met two gentlemen from Microsoft. They have been very closely involved with .NET or Visual Studio, the Microsoft programming framework or platform for the last 10 years or so. So they will lead our NGD Seattle office to help NEO to become the number one platform for developers. Here comes my last slide. It is about a question I've been asked a lot. What's the difference between NEO and Ethereum, between NEO and other blockchains? So there are many answers. We have different consensus mechanisms, different economic models. But the key difference, I believe, is the design philosophy. The philosophy is we are trying to be a pragmatic idealism. I really like the 3 lines. It says, pure pragmatism cannot imagine a bold future, but pure idealism cannot get anything done. So it's a delicate blend of both that drives innovation. So that's the key difference between us and many other blockchains. So I hope with the effort maneuver from the industry, we will really make a difference and the magic will happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful talk and a kind of creative perspective. But when we look back down in Boston area, when people from the MIT, the system, perspective, and also Harvard, we have we call the network, theory and system. If you put them together, my impression is that most of the, you call the institutional, stuff or things, we do not pay attention to the operator, which is the human subject. No doubt about it, when the system works, the blockchain system, smoothly, go through the Markov perspective. But what do you think about the human subject, within, that kind of smart new creations or new order?
Yeah, I agree. So if you look at the definition of NEO, I didn't say it's a blockchain. I said it's an open network. Network can consist of nodes, but also people or entities. I believe governance is a somehow neglected topic of public blockchains in the past few years, but recently a lot of people are talking about governance. On-chain governance is really important. One of the challenges that we are facing is if you are a NEO token holder, you're supposed to be a voter, but how to encourage people to vote, to take part in the governance work, it's difficult. It's not just difficult for blockchains, it's also difficult for real life. So I agree with you, yeah.
Hi, I have a quick question. My name is Rudy. What's your relationship like with the government of China? My understanding is they're very restrictive, they shut things down. Yeah. Will you guys be their favorite that they champion? Like, what's your thought there?
Good question. I've been asked a lot. The Chinese government, the government do not really like the speculative part of cryptocurrency. So they banned two things, ICO and cryptocurrency exchange. So if you are raising money towards general public, general retail investors in China, that will be illegal. And also if you are running a business to facilitate cryptocurrency trading, that will also be illegal. So the speculative part of cryptocurrency is not really allowed in China. But the government and the regulators are really supportive regarding technology itself. So there are government agencies are promoting blockchain technology. So at NEO, we are focusing more about the technology, less about the cryptocurrency side. But nevertheless, you still need a token to monetize all the activities on the network. So it's a balance. So you need to balance between the cryptocurrency side and the blockchain technology side. Yeah, and I won't say we are the favored, like the word you use, a champion or something. Government usually are they should be equal to everyone. Yeah. I hope that answered your question.
Just a quick question. Where did you get the that quote on pragmatism and idealism? Is that you?
No, it's not me. I should have put a footnote here, but somehow I changed the slides, so it just disappeared. I'm sorry for that. That guy is he's a very inspirational speaker. I can't remember the name, but if you want, I can find it for you. Next question.
Hi, so I bought NEO actually back in April 2017. It was the best investment, so thank you for that. So I do have two questions. One is basically like, so you mentioned you want to be the #1 blockchain, right? Maybe you answered a bit already. Like, I want to ask you specifically what is meant by #1 blockchain. Whether you will have the most users, or whether you want to have you want to have the biggest market cap, and so on and so forth, right? And the second question is basically like 2020 is next year, so it's very short time, right? I just want to see your actionables plan. What do you have on horizons?
Okay. My definition of #1 blockchain at this stage is the most developer-friendly platform. It's not that important to have end users. Today, you saw a lot of blockchains with betting, casino, style decentralized applications. They have maybe thousands of users. I don't think that's relevant in the future. So developers is still the most important part of a public blockchain at the next maybe 2 or 3 years. And the second question, what is the second question again?
What's your plan to be #1?
Okay, 2020 is only 1 or 2 years. By how you define 2020, by the start or the end. 2 years is not very long in our. It's a lot of things will happen in 2 years. If you go back 2 years, that's 2017, the start of 2017. It's a completely different landscape. So 2 years, a lot of things can happen. I'm confident that we can achieve that in 2 years.
That's the only Chinese I'll try to say for everyone's sake. Name's George. I'm a local entrepreneur. Hodl Pal is the company. And getting back to the first question, I was just wondering, considering the human element, are you looking at any solutions to address issues of reputation scoring and trying to get people to collaborate more constructively at large scale? You're talking about moving beyond even nationwide collaborations. How do you address this issue of reputation?
It's a very tough question. I haven't found any solution yet. I'm looking into liquid democracy or maybe filter key to see is there any elements we can borrow into public blockchains. But I haven't really find the answer yet. I've been talking to some economists from RMIT. They have a blockchain innovation lab. They're mostly emphasize on the economics or game theory part of voting theory part of blockchains. So we will work with them.
That's great. Yeah, we're building a social network that integrates liquid democracy.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Thank you.
Maybe we can change the term instead of liquid, fluid.
Fluid, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Dai. You just mentioned developers community is extremely important for the public chain. Just wonder how you see the China's developers community like evolving. How would that be compared with more international developers development?
I think actually the Chinese developers do not have a very strong open source culture. So the developers there are more likely to work for a certain project in-house. They don't contribute as a community member. They usually work as an employee. So you can find that pattern with Neo's core developers. There are about 12 or so core developers for Neo. Only 2 of them are Chinese, although we are based in China. 10 of them are from other countries. So in China, we have a different model. NGD Shanghai have an office in real office in Shanghai. We have about 45 employees, and among them 25 or 30 are developers. So they are doing everything under one roof. But in other areas, we have community contributions. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.